Ten cheesy horror movies with female villains. If you look at horror films in general, the antagonist more often than not is male. However, this tradition has been broken by daring filmmakers, and we have consequently been treated to some vicious female villains over the decades. These female baddies have been just as terrifying as their male counterparts, if not more, and have scared their victims and audiences alike. In this video, we will take a quick look at some cheesy horror flicks that have endorsed the idea of having a female villain to intimidate the audience. Before we go into our list, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click from you, but it means a lot to us. Thank you. Let's begin.
I just want you to stop! It's too late! What?
Necromancer, 1988. Julie is a young college student who becomes an unwilling witness to Alan, Carl, and Paul trying to steal test answers from the professor's office. They sexually assault her, leaving her traumatized and fuming with vengeance. When her friend finds an advertisement in the newspapers offering revenge, she goes looking for the source and finds a strange woman with paranormal abilities. This woman is a necromancer, capable of summoning a shape-shifting demon to get back at the terrible guys loathed by Julie. The director Dusty Nelson has managed to put together a nifty horror flick with a compelling storyline. And though it falls in line with other cheesy 80s horror movies, the female demon steals the show on this one. She is a necromancer, or one who can summon the dead to get her job done. We say villain, but the character here is mostly after the bad guys and rapists who deserve what they get. The problem is that the necromancer does not stop at hurting the baddies. Once the demon goes on a killing spree, Julie seems to have a change of heart. But there is no easy way to end this deadly witch. Necromancer is no horror classic, but the ruthless, mean female antagonist will strike a chord with audiences. Lady Terminator, 1989. A young, alluring anthropologist is somehow possessed by the evil spirit of an ancient queen, who makes her go on a murderous rampage in the streets of Indonesia. She arms herself with an AK-47 and takes to her trigger-happy self as she tries to get her revenge on those who had wronged her. She is almost invincible, and there seems to be no way of stopping her deadly trail. This cheesy Indonesian horror movie is a comical spoof of the Terminator. As such, many of her action scenes are lifted straight out of James Cameron's classic. Despite this, we cannot seem to get over the gorgeous Barbara Ann Constable who plays the role of Lady Terminator. She is an evil cyborg hell-bent on slaughtering all her enemies, with her being particularly keen on killing a rising Asian pop star. This movie is clearly not meant to be taken seriously, and a villainess this stunning hardly strikes fear. However, she does have some action-packed moments, such as the nightclub shootout and the one where she takes on an entire police station. You will also enjoy some bizarre moments of the Lady Terminator, such as when she performs surgery on herself. She removes her eyeball, runs it under a tap, and pops it right back into the socket. The makers waste no opportunity in exposing the curvaceous babe on screen, and her character is probably more violent than the Terminator in James Cameron's iconic movie. Enjoy this Indonesian insanity for some lighthearted entertainment, and we promise that the antagonist will be a sight for sore eyes.
Welcome, Father. We've been expecting you.
Howling 2. Your Sister is a Werewolf, 1985. Werewolves have waited several hundred years for the opportunity to take control of the world from humanity. A werewolf hunter, Stefan Krosko, learns that his sister has been transformed into one, residing in Transylvania alongside the mighty queen of the werewolves herself, Sturba. This immortal werewolf queen must be neutralized before she gains her full powers. However, this is easier said than done. given the evil army at her disposal. The movie was pitted as a sequel to The Howling, but contrary to the heart-stopping moments in the original film, this one is more of a hilarious take on the werewolf genre. With the werewolves looking more like guys in gorilla costumes, you certainly won't be spooked by them. The star of the show is the incredible Sybil Danning, who plays the breathtaking werewolf queen. As Stefan plans her downfall, she is always one step ahead and plotting his demise. With her evil mannerisms and her oomph, Sybil Danning aced the role of Sturba and will be one of our favorite female villains despite the mediocrity of Howling 2.
Very hard on undead skin. And you're not even fully undead yet. It's a process.
I don't care what it is. It hurts.
Men, such big babies.
Bordello of Blood, 1996. Lilith, the mother of all vampires, is accidentally revived when a box containing her heart is unknowingly opened by an expedition team. Lilith now runs a brothel under the garb of a funeral home, and all the girls working there are vampires. When Caleb disappears under mysterious circumstances, his sister reports the matter to the police. The police do not pay much attention, but a private investigator named Raffi offers to help. Raffi discovers the brothel to be a vampire's paradise, but he needs more evidence to convince everyone. Bordello of Blood is a witty, dark comedy with glimpses of spooky moments.
Come on, dude. Let's party.
It's largely a B-movie and can be the perfect guilty pleasure after a tiring day of work. From gratuitous violence to nudity, this film is a recipe for a successful trashy flick, and the evil charms of Lilith act as icing on the cake. Angie Everhart takes to the role like a fish to the water, and she seems comfortable with the negativity of her character. Lilith is accidentally revived and immediately shows her bloodthirsty side by killing members of the expedition party. Later, we see another violent moment when Lilith kisses Caleb's friend and pushes her tongue down his throat to rip out his heart. Eventually, she turns her eyes onto Detective Raffi, leading to a powerful struggle with a surprising twist. Check out Bordello of Blood if you can. Queen of the Damned, 2002. The immortal vampire Lestat got bored of his immortality and slept in his coffin for many years. He awakens to a new world and becomes the leader of an undead rock band. Soon he is a popular rock star, but his music somehow awakens the evil Queen Akasha, who wants him as her king. However, Lestat is aware of her evil intentions of taking over humankind and convinces other vampire nobility to foil her plans. There are some vampires who consider him to be a traitor, and when a clash of vampires ensues, the outcome will decide the fate of humanity. This movie is a loose sequel to Interview with the Vampire. It is no easy job to combine the story of Lestat with the novels of Queen of the Damned. Indeed, there were major cuts done to the story. But it still stands out as an interesting vampire flick with a ravishing Queen Akasha who stole our heart. She is shown to be the first vampire ever born, and is an oppressive ruler who enjoys destroying humans and vampires alike. Aaliyah Dana Houghton, who played the role to perfection, unfortunately died in a plane crash shortly after the movie was released. Her work as the enigmatic villain in Queen of the Damned will be remembered fondly by horror fans.
Yeah, that's fine.
Hey! Come on!
Cat People, 1982. The Cat People developed from an ancient practice of sacrificing women to leopards. The leopards mated with the women, and this resulted in cat people who look like humans. However, they must mate with their own kind for the race to progress. Irina Gallier is a beautiful young woman, unaware that she is one of the last remaining cat people. She is raised by adoptive parents, but her sexual awakening and introduction to her brother Paul brings the horrors of her original identity. This is essentially a remake of the 1942 film of the same name, and the premise remains the same. However, this version has much more graphic violence and sexually explicit content than the first one. Regarding the female antagonist in this one, she is hardly a negative character and more of a victim. But in her werecat avatar, she is quite the threat. Irina is pursued by her brother Paul, who makes sexual advances towards her because they are the last few of their kind. Even in her animal form, Irina does not kill the person she loves. She later begs him to make love to her one last time so that she can transform into her panther form permanently. Let's just say that this was one villain who made us feel for her. Audition, 1999. Aoyama is a widower who grieves the death of his wife and raises his son Shigeiko. To help his father cope with solitude, Shigeiko asks him to get married again. To help his cause, Aoyama's friend puts him in charge of a special audition where he can screen various women and pick a wife for himself. Aoyama is smitten by a lady named Asami, but first impressions can often be misleading. The woman he falls for is something very different from what he perceived her to be. Audition, directed by Takashi Miike, is a disturbing horror masterpiece that pulls off a complex storyline with great finesse. This atmospheric narrative will spook you terribly once you comprehend the true horror on offer. The mysterious Asami is as gorgeous as she is scary. She is initially shown to be an introverted, beautiful lady, but we soon discover the true horrors of her character, changing the entire melodramatic romance into a terrifying tale. She is extremely violent towards men who betray her, her violent side having emerged after a sexually abusive childhood. When she finds a photo of Aoyama's late wife in his house, she is enraged and plans a brutal revenge. You will have second thoughts on dating strangers after watching this woman in her true form.
Come on, Peter, no more games, huh?
Curtains, 1983. An actress named Samantha Sherwood, with a history of psychiatric disorders, was a part of several movies directed by director Jonathan Stryker. For his latest venture titled Audra, he asks her to prepare for the role by getting admitted to an asylum. However, what she thinks to be preparation is actually a plan to get rid of her indefinitely. In the meantime, Stryker organizes an audition in a remote mansion for 6 new ladies. Things take a horrific turn when a masked murderer starts targeting the actresses trying out. Is Samantha behind this? Curtains is a rather charming slasher flick that is criminally underrated despite being full of suspenseful moments. It has an innovative plot that is realistic, and the scary bits are punctuated throughout the movie. The characters are captivating, but none more so than the passionate Samantha. She is so keen to fit into the role of a crazy woman that she doesn't hesitate to go ahead with the bizarre plan of her director. She manages to break free from the asylum, and her desire for the role continues as she heads to the mansion picked for the audition. The only thing scarier than a mean female villain is a crazy version of that, and Samantha certainly sent shivers down our spine.
It's over. Gotta run! Ah! Here they come! Now!
Nightmare Sisters, 1988. 3 geeky college girls seem to have a tough time finding a date for themselves. In their desperation, they invite a few geeky guys in the hope of a romantic outcome. But things did not go as planned because the girls perform a seance that causes them to be possessed. They are transformed from innocent geeks to sex-crazed vamps. The only ones who can save them are the band of nerds, who must find a way to stop the terrifying possession. This movie was made by the same people who were responsible for movies like Sorority Babes and the Slimeball Bowl-O-Rama, and the theme remains somewhat similar. This is by all means a cheesy horror, and the plot is more of an excuse for the ample nudity that follows. However, the vile female antagonists are lookers. The cast comprises the likes of Linnea Quigley, Michelle Bauer, and Brink Stevens, and all of them thrill the audience with their ruthless mannerisms. The B-movie scream queens do not disappoint, and their acting performances bring the best of female meanness to the fore. They might not exactly be serious, but Nightmare Sisters would not be worth watching without their blissful presence.
Street fighting, no fair.
Sorority Babes and the Slimeball Bowl-O-Rama, 1988. As a sorority ritual, the new pledges and their male companions are tasked with stealing a trophy from the local bowling alley. As they go about their task, things go awry when they accidentally break the trophy. The trophy contained an evil imp who starts to make their lives a living terror. The teenagers start suffering from an attrition problem, and there seems to be no quick remedy in sight. The title of the movie is enough to give you a quick heads up of where you're headed. It's horribly hilarious and a fun horror comedy to enjoy with a couple of beers. The story is crafted to be a sleaze classic, and it gets weirder after the imp grants them wishes that actually do them more harm than good. Now we come to the part that puts this movie on our list: the 3 drool-worthy babes. They make for great villains and cheap thrills. One of them is turned into the Bride of Frankenstein, the other into a demonic minion, and their murderous rampage is amazingly entertaining. The Scream Queen Linnea Quigley stars in this movie and does justice to her charming yet devilish character.
Oh, just like John Wayne. Pow!
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Do not take anything about sorority babes seriously, and it might prove to be a fun watch for a casual movie night. This is all the time we had for today's episode. We hope you guys liked it. It would be awesome if you guys can take some time to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to tell us which topic you want us to cover in the comment section. Have a fantastic day ahead and stay safe.
Undo these straps. Sorry if I touch you somewhere I shouldn't.
It's okay, JC. You can touch me. You can touch me.
Anywhere you want.